She said it the way people talk when they've already made peace with the damage they're about to cause. I'm teaching our son to call Dan, Daddy. You're never home anyway. Just like that. No tremor in her voice, no warning. Just a quiet confession delivered over the sound of boiling pasta and a children's show humming in the background. I remember staring at the steam rising from the pot, thinking how much it looked like smoke, like something burning long before the fire was visible. I didn't respond at first, didn't trust my voice, not with the way the air turned metallic in my lungs. Then I said the only thing I could. Whatever's best for him. I heard my voice from outside my body, flat, steady, an imitation of calm. She nodded, almost relieved, and returned to stirring the pot, like she had granted me a mercy by warning me early, like this was simply the next reasonable step. But something shifted inside me in that moment. A door closed, quietly, permanently. I went through dinner like a ghost, smiling when needed, nodding at appropriate times, watching her laugh with Dan's texts lighting up her screen. And all the while, a single thought pulsed in the back of my mind like a warning siren. There is something I am missing. Something she isn't saying. Something deeper than neglect or loneliness. That night, long after she fell asleep, I sat alone in the living room, lights off, silence thick. Her words replayed in my head until they began to sound like a confession of something far more deliberate. And I knew, without knowing how, that this was only the beginning of the unraveling. The shift didn't happen all at once. It came in tremors. A glance that lasted a second too long. A message she turned her phone away to type. A late-night walk she swore helped her clear her mind. None of it was enough. Not individually, not yet. But together, the pieces felt like fingerprints on glass, smudged, partial, but unmistakably human. I watched them without watching, a detached observer in my own home. She grew bolder, or careless, maybe both. She smiled more at her phone than at me. She lingered in the bathroom with the shower off. She dressed like she was meeting someone who noticed details I'd forgotten to praise. And every time I tried to tell myself I was imagining it, I'd remember her words again. Teaching our son to call him Daddy. There was intention behind that, preparation, rehearsal. You don't teach a child a new father unless you're building a new home. I held myself together through routine, making breakfasts, tying shoes, leaving for work like nothing had ruptured. But internally, I cataloged everything. Her mood swings, her smiles, her sighs, the way she flinched when I touched her shoulder, the way she brightened when her phone buzzed. And beneath it all, a growing suspicion. This wasn't new. This wasn't a sudden slide. This was the ending of something that had been dying long before she voiced it. One night she fell asleep on the couch, phone slipping from her hand. I didn't mean to pick it up, but my fingers moved anyway. Cold, certain. A preview banner lit the screen. I miss you already. Tomorrow? 3 dots followed. Typing. From him. I put the phone down without opening anything further. The betrayal wasn't in the message, it was in everything that suddenly made sense because of it. Her confidence, her detachment, her decision to replace me in our son's eyes. She wasn't drifting, she was transitioning, and I, the husband, was simply the last person to realize he'd been written out of the script. Detachment became my ally. I stopped reacting, stopped questioning, stopped existing emotionally in the same space as her. But I watched, quietly, methodically. I installed cameras, not in anger, in certainty. Hidden lenses behind vents, inside smoke detectors, above door frames, silent observers where conversation had died. I listened to their whispers remotely, to the shifting of sheets, to footsteps at hours when no one should be awake, to her voice, soft, careful, intimate, before the front door clicked. I kept my face a calm mask, played my part. Routine was my cover. She began speaking to me less, smiling at me less, but smiling more at her phone. Her guilt never surfaced. That almost intrigued me. Some betrayals come wrapped in remorse, others come wrapped in justification. Hers was wrapped in both, a quiet script she was rewriting day by day. She began suggesting weekends away to give each other space. She offered excuses before I could ask for them. She complimented me more than usual, soft, shallow words meant to ease her conscience. But I had the footage. I had everything. I watched it alone, earbuds in, heart detached. Her laughter, his voice, their rhythm, their whispered, careless intimacy. And with each passing day, my pulse slowed, my anger cooled, my clarity sharpened. The moment I stopped feeling was the moment I began planning. Revenge isn't rage. Revenge is precision. And I had all the data I needed. The night before Thanksgiving, the final piece arrived. A video timestamped 2:14 a.m. My bed, their bodies. No ambiguity. No escape. She came home the next morning humming, light, floating, oblivious. I placed a USB drive on the counter. "What's this?" she asked. "A backup," I said softly. Her smile faltered. She sensed something. She just didn't know what. She opened it on her laptop, clicked the first file. Her breath caught. Then again, and again. She covered her mouth with her hand, eyes wide, face draining of color. Where did you get?" I didn't answer. I simply looked at her. Cold, quiet, unmoved. She reached for me, reflex, habit, fear. I stepped back, and that tiny movement broke her. Thanksgiving afternoon, her entire family gathered, laughing, drinking, clinking glasses. She sat beside me, hands